Ethan Caldwell had everything a man could dream of, a sprawling mansion on the hills of San Francisco, billion-dollar businesses, and the respect of an entire city. But behind the marble walls of his home, there was a silence that pierced deeper than loneliness. His only daughter, Lila, had been mute since birth. Doctors had labeled it selective mutism, but no matter the therapy, the endless specialists, or the extravagant treatments he paid for across continents, Lila never spoke a word. At 7 years old, she lived in her own quiet world, wide, intelligent eyes always watching but lips sealed shut. After her mother's tragic death in a car accident 4 years ago, Lila withdrew even further, her silence wrapping tighter around her fragile heart. Ethan, once a vibrant and loving husband, became cold and distant, throwing himself into business to numb the ache of both grief and helplessness. He rarely smiled anymore. His staff whispered how the mansion felt more like a museum. Grand, empty, and hollow. Until the day everything changed. It was a chilly autumn morning when Lila wandered further than usual during her afternoon walk. Her governess was distracted on the phone, and Lila, curious and drawn by faint laughter, crossed the stone bridge near the estate and stumbled upon a sight that made her freeze in place. By the dusty park bench, 3 boys, ragged and clearly poor, were huddled together, giggling as they played with a broken soccer ball. Their shoes were torn, their jackets too thin for the cold, but their faces radiated a warmth Lila had never seen. Their names were Liam, Jaden, and Noah. Orphans from the nearby rundown neighborhood, they spent their days helping at a mechanic's shop and nights sleeping under the old railway bridge. They didn't have much, but they had each other, and that was enough. Liam, the eldest at 12, spotted Lila first. His smile was lopsided but kind. "Hey there, wanna play?" he called, holding out the ball. Lila hesitated. No one ever invited her. She blinked, then shook her head, pointing to her throat to signal she couldn't speak. Jaden, quick and sharp, grinned. "It's okay. You don't need words to play soccer." Noah, the youngest at 8, chimed in shyly, "We understand." My baby sister didn't talk for a long time either. For reasons she couldn't explain, Lila sat down quietly near them. And for the first time in years, she felt safe. Day after day, she returned to that spot, sitting quietly while the boys played, occasionally passing the ball or clapping softly. Weeks turned into months, and slowly, gently, the boys began teaching her signs and sounds. Not medical therapy. Not expensive techniques. Just patience, friendship, and kindness. They'd hum songs, encourage her to mimic animal sounds, and show her simple words through gestures. Liam would tap his chest and say, "Friend." Jaden would point to the sky and say, "Blue." Noah, shy but gentle, would draw letters on the dusty ground and make her trace them with her tiny fingers. And slowly, impossibly, Lila began to respond. Ethan barely noticed his daughter's subtle changes. Buried under business mergers and global meetings, he dismissed her slightly brighter eyes and her faint humming at the dinner table as wishful thinking. It wasn't until one rainy evening that fate intervened. His chauffeur had called in sick, and for the first time in months, Ethan himself drove to pick up Lila from her usual walk. He couldn't find her in the gardens. Panic rising, he followed her tiny footprints to the bridge, and froze. There, under the fading light, Lila was laughing, a breathy, soft, beautiful laugh, as she clapped her hands, trying to say the word "ball" with Liam guiding her gently. Her voice was rough and strained, but it was a voice. Ethan stumbled back, his heart catching painfully. Tears blurred his vision as he watched his daughter, surrounded by 3 ragged boys who treated her not as a billionaire's child, but simply as a friend. He didn't approach. He didn't interrupt. He stood there in the rain, breaking down in silent sobs. The next morning, Ethan summoned his staff and had his men locate the 3 boys. Within hours, Liam, Jaden, and Noah were escorted to the grand mansion, their eyes wide and scared, thinking they'd done something wrong. Ethan sat before them in his towering office, staring intently. "Do you know who I am?" he asked quietly. Liam nodded, voice steady despite his fear. "You're Mr. Caldwell. The man who owns the city. And why did you befriend my daughter?" Ethan pressed, tone serious. The boys exchanged glances. Jaden lifted his chin. "Because she looked lonely. And she's nice." Noah whispered, "We didn't want anything, we just liked her." Ethan's stern mask broke. His voice wavered. "You gave her something no money could buy. You gave her a reason to try again." His eyes, usually sharp and cold, brimmed with tears. "Thank you." Before the boys could react, Ethan did something that shocked everyone. He knelt down before them. "I owe you my daughter's smile." Over the next few weeks, Ethan's life transformed. He invited Liam, Jaden, and Noah to live at the mansion, enrolling them in the best schools, ensuring they had warm clothes, food, and care. But more importantly, he ensured their friendship with Lila remained untouched and pure. Under their gentle guidance and newfound joy, Lila's words grew clearer every day. Her first full sentence, spoken at the dinner table one evening, was soft and shaky. "Daddy, thank you." Ethan dropped his fork, his heart crumbling as he scooped his daughter into his arms, crying openly. For the first time in 4 years, the mansion echoed with laughter, voices, and life. But that wasn't all. Ethan, inspired by the boys' selflessness, created the Lila Foundation, a charitable organization dedicated to providing therapy, education, and homes to children with speech difficulties and those from broken homes. Within 2 years, the foundation had helped thousands of children across the country. As for Liam, Jaden, and Noah, they didn't just become Lila's friends. They became her brothers. Ethan legally adopted all 3, giving them not just a home, but a family. Years later, on Lila's wedding day, with her brothers standing proudly by her side, she whispered into her father's ear, her voice strong and clear. "You gave me everything, Daddy. But they gave me my voice." Ethan smiled, tears falling freely as he hugged her tight. "No, my angel. You gave us all our hearts back." And the mansion that once echoed with silence now forever rang with laughter, love, and life.